Hello, my name is Gary Mansfield, and this is a bonus episode of the Ministry of Arts podcast. Now, as ever, let's begin by banging these bongos.
Yeah, right. Crazy.
Hello, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Ministry of Arts podcast. For the third consecutive year, we've partnered with the Kensington and Chelsea Art Week and Art Trail, where we get the opportunity to speak to several of their featured artists. And today's episode is one of those. But before I take you to meet him, let me just give you a little bit of information about the Kensington and Chelsea Art Week and Art Trail. The Art Week is, well, it's just a little bit longer than a week. It runs from the 22nd of June until the 2nd of July. And the Art Trail runs from the 16th of June, which is the date of release of this podcast, right up until the end of August. And the Art Trail even has its own art bus. It stops in the location of various artworks, and you can jump on and jump off at your heart's content. For the full list of featured artists and a whole lot more information, go over to the Kensington and Chelsea Art Week Instagram page, which is KCAW London, and you'll find everything there that you need. Well, today's guest is Junior Tomlin, and my personal opinion is that Junior is exactly what the Kensington and Chelsea Art Week and Trail is all about. Junior lives in the borough. Junior was born in the borough. He lives in the borough. He went to school in the borough. His jobs have been within the borough. His art journey has been within the borough. And now his artwork is being showcased within the borough. It's a beautiful story that just goes to show that if you embrace creativity and sprinkle on a little bit of passion, you can end up with a lifetime of opportunities. So please come and join me as I spoke to Junior Tomlin. How are you, mate? You good?
Not bad. Nice to meet you.
And to you. Yeah, that's pretty cool being in that Kensington and Chelsea Art Week, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. I'm quite happy. I'm quite chuffed.
Oh, so you should be, mate. So you should be. Junior, I've got 7 questions that I ask each artist. And the first being, how would you explain what you do to someone that didn't know your work?
I'm a design illustrator. I create images. I'm basically an artist, a commercial artist, but I do other things besides that. Yeah, because I first started off doing computer game packaging artwork. And then I moved on into record covers, rave flyers, digital colouring, working in a special effects company, being a creature technician, and being a tutor, being a teacher. And now I can add to it mural artist and mosaic designer. So and guess what? Author.
I saw that. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
You said that you was a rave flyer designer.
Yes. Back in the day, about 1982.
Wow, man.
No, 1992. That's when I done my first rave flyer.
That's when the rave flyers were everywhere, weren't they?
Yeah, and they were big. You know, there was like, A3, then A2, and then monster size, and then it just got smaller and smaller, and nobody done artwork. It's all because in those days they used to basically pinch them from books. They used to basically do like a bit of copyright infringement using other people's images.
Yeah.
But I did mine fresh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, fresh out of the noggin.
What venues did you used to put them in? Can you remember?
They used to go to places like Laserdrome, what's it, Bagley's.
Oh, yeah, nice.
That Astoria.
Yeah, I used to run the door at Astoria.
You never know, you might have done one of my events that I did for Slamming Vinyl.
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I've done a few for that, Slamming Vinyl, yeah, and One Nation.
Oh, I remember One Nation.
Yeah, we did quite a lot of flyers for One Nation, so that's quite fun.
And you've done album covers?
Album covers. My first album cover, record cover that I'd done in 1989.
Wow, bloody hell.
Yeah, and that was the classic Phantom by Renegade Soundwave.
Oh, yeah, nice.
It's iconic, that one.
So music was very much in your life. And where was it you grew up?
I grew up in good old Labatt Grove.
Well, then the music's going to be in your blood from around there, isn't it?
Yeah, grew up listening to like reggae in the good old early days when there used to be like, a reggae program. Every weekend we used to listen to, I think it was Greg Edwards or Alex Pascal.
Greg Edwards, man. Yeah, nice.
Reggae. The only show that played reggae in those days.
Brilliant. Yeah, it was a good borough to be a part of, right?
Yeah, it is.
And it's steeped in history as well, isn't it?
Yeah, born and bred in this borough.
Was there creativity in home when you were growing up?
Not so much. My dad was, I heard later on that my dad was creative. He went to art school.
Oh, yeah. So where did your creative journey start then?
Well, my creative journey started when I went to do my foundation course in Notting Hill Gate, called a place called Byamshore School of Art.
To where? Byamshore?
Yeah, Byamshore.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to Byamshore School of Art to do a 1-year foundation because I was too late to apply to other places. And I applied to St. Martin's and Camberwell, but they didn't take me. And also at London College of Printing, they didn't have me. So somebody said, there is this place where you might get in. This is the last chance shot. So I applied and I got in.
Yeah, Byamshore is pretty cool, right?
It was great in that day.
Yeah, I applied to go there for my BA, but went elsewhere instead. And how did you find that foundation?
It's a little bit mind-blowing when you actually think back to it, because there you have 18-year-old kid who's just basically fresh from school, mixing with like people, as I call it, weird and wonderful people. Because at that time it was just basically geared up for basically oil painting.
Yeah. And where did you go from there?
From there, I went to Goldsmiths College to do 3 years of graphic design.
Got you. And
yeah, because I wanted to be a graphic designer, but it didn't quite pan out in the way I thought it would.
In what the degree didn't, or being a graphic designer didn't quite pan out?
Being a graphic designer. Those ideas, because it's like I handled the briefs in more of an illustration way.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking I'm a graphic designer. Then I couldn't get a job as a graphic designer when I left, because you're going into places here with your college portfolio. So who's going to take you seriously?
Yeah.
Right. So that's when I thought, let's change it all to illustration. And I used to attend this place called, One Step. And from One Step, I was a founder member of the London Cartoon Workshop.
Oh yeah, nice.
And we had like fantastic tutors coming down to basically tutor us. It was basically about getting kids to do like sequential arts. We had the likes of Brian Bolland and John Burns, and who's that? David Lloyd, the guy who drew V for Vendetta.
Oh well, nice.
So I think it was him who gave me my first break, saying, "Yeah, why don't you get into doing computer game covers?" So that's how I researched computer game video covers, and I got my first gig, and it was called Sunstar many years ago, and more followed.
And how long was you in that area for?
That was about 4 or 5 years, and until everything started to become like one, computerized, and two, they were using like screenshots to sell the game. Yeah, and then they no longer needed the artist, so I basically had to move on, pack my bags and move on to other things.
What came to you after you was doing the gaming?
It was the record covers. How I got into it is quite interesting, because I was actually working at the London Cartoon Centre at the time as a tutor in airbrushing. One day...
And sorry, would that be airbrushing on the computer or by hand?
By hand.
Got you. Good. I was hoping you was going to say that.
Yeah. So I was there, working as an airbrush tutor. Had a couple of lessons, and then one day I was approached by a guy called, I think it was Peter Kent, and he was looking for an airbrush artist for his band, and his band happened to be Renegade Soundwave.
Nice.
And the great thing about that is that the offices was in Harrow Road, just after you go over from Kensal Road over the Halfpenny Steps, and there's the offices there. That's now it's now a chemist. So that's how I got into it. Yeah, so I done my first record cover. It was called the Phantom. It's like an iconic cover. Everybody remembers it from 1989.
Yeah.
And more followed. And then I also worked with other companies in the area, like Kicking Records and Vinyl Solution.
So to this point, your creative career focused wholly sort of in the borough. So it grew and sort of blossomed in the borough itself. Brilliant.
Yeah. And then I go to, you go to fairs and you meet people.
Yeah.
And the people will phone you up because of the previous work that you've done. And then I get like more, record cover commissions to do. So that was my first record cover for Renegade Soundwave called The Phantom. So consequently, I've done 2 other record covers for them. But you do form friendships with some of the people in the band, 2 of which that I still keep in contact with.
Oh, nice. Which piece that you've created has got the strongest emotional connection to you, Junior?
Oh boy. That's a strange word, emotional connection.
Well, what one has just meant the most to you? What one sort of stands out?
To me, I think it's the first, the first of doing it. Anyone, it's like the first one I'd done to do computer game covers. That resonates to me because that was the first one that's basically like broke the mold. That basically set me up to do others. In the record covers, it's the Renegade Soundwave one. In the rave, it's Rave World. Yeah, nice. Because it's the one that basically it gets you in there.
Yeah.
And then subsequently, you could do more from it, but you always remember the first one you ever did. There would be others along the way where it's better than the one I have more emotional input with.
Yeah. Well, the first one is that one where you're being accepted in that field, isn't it?
Yes.
That's when you feel that you are a part of it rather than you want to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The more you turn out, the more people see your work, and that's the part of the beauty of it, because you're not only giving somebody a piece of artwork, it's basically like a little advertisement of what you do.
Yeah,
and it's going to be bought or given to say like 250,000 or 500,000 people, and you're thinking, yeah.
When I was growing up, the only artwork in my life was record covers, and I think, and I know I'm going to sound like an old man here, but the lads of today have really missed out on something beautiful that is an album or a single, because I've mentioned this on here a few times. Like my boy will listen on Spotify, listen to the first 5 or 10 seconds of a song and swipe through. And I'll be like, oh man, when we heard a new album was coming out, you'd go into the record shop, you'd sift through, you'd listen to the records in there, be part of the atmosphere. On the way home, you'd sort of memorize the whole playlist on the back of the album before you've even got home to play it. And then for the next week, your needle is on that album all week.
Yeah.
And it was something quite special.
It was quite beautiful, where you would buy an album only because it's got one track that you like on it.
Yeah.
Like, how many albums have you ever bought here where you like 99 or 100 tracks on it? Because you've got 10 tracks on an album, you're not going to like all 10. You will always end up liking about 4 or 5.
And when you be flicking through the albums, you might even just see an album cover that stands out, and you buy the album just for the album cover,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then find out later about the musician that's on there.
I did the same thing when I got my interest perked up when it comes to like science fiction art. I won a competition when I was at school I was given like, I think it was like £10 W.H. Smith's voucher. So I went out there and, I bought like, what kids really like, a compass set and
Yeah, of course.
protractor, a ruler, rubber, pencil. Yeah. Then I had some money left over. So what did I do? I was looking in the book section and I found this book here. It was called The Early Asimov, because I liked the cover of the book. And guess what? I bought it. And guess what? It will be another 4 years before I read the Flame.
And was it any good?
It was good.
Was it as good as the cover?
It was as good as the cover. That sparked my interest in wanting to become a science fiction illustrator.
There you
science
go.
Fiction book illustrator. So my work is it tends to be like sci-fi, fantasy, Afrofuturism with slices of like surrealism thrown in.
Brilliant. And could you imagine you'd be 4 years further down the line if you read that book straight away, wouldn't you?
That is true. But it's quite interesting because everything has got its own time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It probably needed me to basically like wait there and have nothing to do until I was ready to read that book.
Super.
And then when I read that book, I was basically like, nearly there. When I was in secondary school now, there was a trip to Margate. I found this bookshop and I found more of the same artwork by the same artist. So I ended up buying like several more books, science fiction books, because I like that particular style, the space, the fantasy, and that was in the time there when, Star Wars came out.
That changed cinema, that changed science fiction, didn't it? Changed everything.
God bless you, George Lucas.
Then you moved into that area, being a colorist. How did that come about? Because that's a hard thing to get into, I would have thought. Yeah,
I got into that by somebody that I used to go to the London Cartoon Centre with. Yeah, my friend, Martin, because he was working for Marvel Panini at the time. They was like based up in Kent. I think it was Tunbridge Wells. And he heard on the grapevine that they was looking for a colorist to do Action Man, because they wanted to basically change the style of coloring on Action Man, because before it used to basically be like flat color, cuts, gradation, and they wanted it to be more molded, a bit more like full. 3D, a bit more full, a bit more smoother, where you can he's actually got dimension. I sent him 1 or 2 samples, and then I got the gig, and it was a great gig too.
Nice. And how long was you on that for?
I was on that for 2 years.
Nice.
And the beauty of that is that I used to get 10 pages a month to do with Action Man, and it was just a good gig, and it was great pay.
Good.
It was great pay.
Yeah, you'd like those every month, wouldn't you?
Yes. And then from there, I got into doing Transformers Armada.
Wow. Spectacular
Spider-Man, and a whole lot of like pocketbook covers. It's all quite fun because it's something I'm ringing them up and say, have you got any colouring? Have you got any colouring? I say, yeah. And then I got into working for Kensington and Chelsea College.
When was that?
That was in the late 90s.
Got you. And what was you doing there?
I was a tutor, teaching people how to use like Adobe Illustrator.
Nice.
Yeah, and the spin-off of that is that when they came up with summer courses, I was to do like a 5-week summer course here at Hortensia College, teaching Adobe Illustrator. You need a Wacom tablet, otherwise drawing with a mouse is akin to drawing with a brick.
It is. I've tried it myself so many times.
Yeah. If you like blunt artwork, use a brick.
And how long was you at Kensington Chelsea College for?
I think I was there for 2-3 years. My redundancy was the same amount of money for the tax that I had to pay, so that cancelled each other out.
That's funny.
Well, when you look back at it, it's amusing.
Yeah. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, your career seems to have just been all around Kensington and Chelsea. Now it's gone into a little bit of a new field, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone to more or less community driven now.
Brilliant.
which is I find it quite exhilarating. You know, giving back to the community that basically raised me, so to speak.
Yeah. You've created a mural that is part of the Kensington and Chelsea Art Week and Art Trail. Tell us a bit about it, Junior.
Well, how that happened it's come about is that I was contacted by Vestalia. Yeah, and they was having that consultation. They asked me to come and sit in on like 2 consultations where they had like members of like the community who lived in Gorban Ward.
Yeah.
To come in and talk about their experience and their views about what they would like to see on the wall. I went there, equipped with a piece of paper and a pen. Yeah. So I drew out these like long pillar box grids. So when they were like talking about what they would like to see, everyone was talking. I'm just scribbling them down, scribbling them down, and then 8 ideas later, you park that. I was put forward to actually as one of the people to create the mural. So it went to a voting process. It was like me and 2 other artists. And the lovely thing is that I thought I wasn't going to win, but guess what? They voted for me. Thank you. And then I won, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, and it's nice that it's people from your community that have put you forward to create something in that community, right?
Yeah.
And what is the mural?
The mural, it's basically for the children. It's called "Children Are Rising Stars."
Brilliant.
So there's a lot of stars in the mural, which are basically to me the depiction of children. They're the stars.
Give us some dimensions just for people listening, so they can get an idea. What's the width and height of the mural, roughly?
About 8 foot by 60 foot.
Oh, there you go. Straight off the top of your head. And what is it visually?
It's got a whole lot of interconnected themes. Yeah, 1 is the stars that represent the children. Yeah. 2 is like the wavy lines, it can also represent the children's journey, as well as there's musical notes there, because that entire area every year is home to Panorama, the Battle of the Steel Pans.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's 2 representations, right, or 3 of steel pan design. Both ends, there's 2 round symbols here with the steel pan designs.
Oh yeah, I can see.
Yeah,
because the wall itself has got several large circular holes cut into it, hasn't it?
Yeah. So I basically tried to use those round windows, but the complication of my design means that I couldn't do concentric circles around it.
No, of course.
But it's been simplified a bit. But I love it.
It looks stunning, doesn't it? And even on the floor as well. Were those stars already on the floor of the
park?
No,
that's the beauty of it. Yeah, it's I didn't know the design of the park before I done the mural. So when we got there, to think, wow, there's already stars there, so it reflects perfectly.
Yeah,
what's happening.
So the wall, for anyone who doesn't know the park itself, the wall is at the edge of a play park. A lot of the play parks have a very soft surface. The floor looks to be very dark, possibly navy blue or black, with these big yellow stars that are possibly 8 feet in diameter.
Yeah, they're big stars.
And then on your design, the stars, there's stars all about. So it looks like you've designed the entire park. And is mural painting something you'd like to go forward with? I
am really intrigued by it, because I've seen murals of people done on street art around the world, and it looks amazing.
You mentioned about you doing airbrush work. Do you think you could upscale one of your old covers and put that on a wall, do you think?
That would be amazing if someone asked me to do that. I just have to think and plan it.
For anyone that will be going to see the artwork on the Kensington and Chelsea Art Trail, just tell us again where to find your artwork and its title.
You find it at Helsmead Horniman's Pleasance on the Kensal Road, opposite Camelot Studios.
Yeah, I know.
And it's the play area when you see the lovely colour and the lovely wave of line, and then you found it.
Follow the stars. That's a good line, isn't it?
Yeah, follow the stars.
And Junior, where can anyone find what you're doing, be it website or social media?
Instagram, you type in Junior Tomlin, it comes straight up. Facebook, same thing, Junior Tomlin. You can also go to juniortomlin.com. That's my website.
Yeah.
And as I said before, I've also got a book out there.
You've become an author. Tell us about that.
That was one of the great ones, because in 2020, I was emailed by Colin Stephen, the guy who runs Velocity Press. They do like electronic music books, and he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He asked me, "Isn't it about time that you had a book of your work out?" And I said, "Yeah." So that's how it was done.
What is the title of the book you've got?
Junior Tomlin Flyer and Cover Art.
And what can people expect to see inside it? 30
years of my artwork, flyers and record covers.
There's obviously the words inside is your sort of biography, if you like.
Yeah, it's got an interview that I did with Chelsea Berlin. Yeah, she wrote the foreword. It was quite good because I asked for her, personally, and she felt honoured that I asked her. So I'm quite happy. Because that was 2020. We was going to have a launch, but of course, COVID mashed up the plans.
Oh man, that got in the way of everything, didn't it?
But three times. But it's been a good journey, because from the back of that, I've had more work, more people has actually rediscovered that I'm still around, knocking out work.
Brilliant. And where can anyone get that book, Junior?
Go to velocitypress.com.
Right, brilliant, Junior. That's all my questions asked, mate. Thank you very much for your time. I've really enjoyed it.
It's been a blast.
And I absolutely love the fact that you was born in the borough, and pretty much your entire creative journey has been within that borough, a true representation of Kensington and Chelsea. Good on you, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, I'm Vestolia Chilton, the director of Kensington and Chelsea Art Week and Art Trail. You've just been listening to one of our featured artists. Make sure to keep these dates, for the Art Trail starts on the 15th of June and lasts all summer, and Art Week starts on the 22nd of June and ends on the 2nd of July. All of this information is on our website, kcaw.co.uk. We look forward to welcoming you.
If you've got an exhibition or any other creative project within the arts, or even just want to promote your own artwork, you could do that in podcast form, similar to the one you've just listened to. They start at a convenient price point that is comfortable for any artist working on a budget. This podcast itself is created by working artists, and we know how important that is. So to find out more information, you can email us on ministryofartsorg@gmail.com or on Instagram @ministryofartsorg. Ta-da!